Thank you, Colwyn, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Regional News. We start off with some news in neighboring Brazil, where the health officials braced yesterday for President Jair Bolsonaro to fire his health minister over disagreements on how to handle the coronavirus outbreak, with at least one secretary offering his resignation in protest. In a defiant news conference, Health Minister Luiz Mandetta acknowledged his differences with Bolsonaro and said he had discussed a search for his replacement with the presidential chief of staff. Bolsonaro and Mandetta have been at odds over the handling of the coronavirus epidemic for weeks, as the president played down the gravity of the outbreak, touted unproven drugs, and attacked governors over lockdown orders applauded by Mandetta. Mandetta said he had refused the resignation of Wanderson de Oliveira, Secretary of Health Vigilance, a key figure in the fight against the epidemic. In a note to Oliveira said that Mandetta, his boss, would likely be fired in coming hours or days. Some 1,736 people have died of COVID-19 in Brazil, out of more than 28,320 confirmed cases of the respiratory disease, according to Health Ministry data on Wednesday. There were more than 3,000 new cases recorded in the past day, the biggest daily jump registered since the outbreak began in late February. More than 200 new deaths were registered, matching the previous day's record rise. Now, in neighboring Venezuela, the government is employing harsher measures in case of Caracas' largest barriers to ensure residents comply with a coronavirus quarantine, as many poor Venezuelans continue to head outside in search of scarce food and water. Over the past few days, local Socialist Party councils have issued permits to thousands of families living in the Katia barrio that allow only one family member out at a time and deployed a first special police unit to enforce the measure, community leaders and residents told Reuters. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro imposed a national quarantine on March 17, a few days after authorities confirmed the first case of the COVID-19 illness caused by the virus. In Katia, however, many residents flouted the order and continue to congregate in public markets and squares. Venezuela's health system has collapsed during a 6-year economic crisis, raising worries that the virus could spread unchecked. Maduro, however, says the quarantine and mandatory use of face masks outdoors are working, and his government so far has confirmed only 181 cases and 9 deaths. And finally, the director of research at the Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology in Cuba, Dr. Gennaro Guillen, says a clinical trial is now being held for a vaccine aimed at activating the immune system to combat COVID-19. Speaking during a recent television interview, Guillen said that the drug called CIGB 2020 is undergoing trials at the Luis Diaz Hospital in Havana with volunteer patients suspected of being carriers of the disease. He says the drug is nasally and sublingually administered to strengthen these areas, and encouraging results have already been observed regarding the activation of the innate immune system, which is very important to successfully combat this disease. He added that CIGB 2020 is a drug that is inserted along with another Cuban vaccine developed by Finlay Institute in a field of research that has been much debated in contemporary science, which is the development of specific vaccines to stimulate innate immunity, which is powered by the new coronavirus. And I quote, "Our researchers have been able to make lab technologies available to this research in record time, and after these first results, we will continue with the trials and analyze the results," end of quote, Guillen said. Meanwhile, up to Tuesday, there were 766 positive COVID-19 cases across the island. According to the Ministry of Public Health, 599 of those 766 patients are in stable condition. To date, there have been only 20 deaths. And that's it for Region News this evening. Back to you, Handel.